She slipped him sandwiches when no one was looking, never asking for thanks. Years later, a knock on her door would reveal how much that kindness truly meant. The school bell rang across the dusty yard of Rosefield Elementary, where most kids ran home laughing and waving their lunchboxes in the air. But Ms. Linda Carter, a fifth-grade teacher known for her gentle voice and fierce heart, stood at the window, watching one boy walk alone. Jamie Wells, 10 years old, always quiet, always last to leave, and always hungry. She'd noticed the signs early in the year, how he never brought lunch, how his stomach growled during silent reading, how he sometimes pretended to tie his shoes just to stay near the cafeteria. One afternoon, she slipped him a sandwich. "You forgot your lunch," she said softly, pretending it was a mix-up. He blinked up at her, eyes wide with both surprise and something she couldn't forget. Shame. "Thank you," he whispered, clutching the food like it was gold. After that, it became a silent routine. Turkey on Mondays, peanut butter and jelly on Wednesdays. Sometimes she added a cookie with a note that simply read, "Keep going. I believe in you." Jamie never said much, but his eyes got brighter. His shoulders stood straighter, and every now and then, he'd leave a crumpled napkin behind with a scribbled drawing of her holding a sunflower. Ms. Carter never asked questions, never drew attention. She just fed him, not just with food, but with dignity. And when the school year ended, Jamie moved away without a goodbye. She never saw him again. Until one afternoon, 20 years later. A black SUV pulled into her driveway, and a man in a tailored suit stepped out holding a set of house keys. Linda opened the door slowly, wiping flour from her hands. She had just finished baking banana bread, her quiet hobby in retirement. She looked up, startled by the man standing on her porch. Tall, well-dressed, early 30s, familiar, but not quite. "Miss Carter?" he asked, his voice rich but slightly nervous. She tilted her head. "Yes?" He took a step forward, then smiled. "You probably don't recognize me. I used to draw you holding sunflowers." Her breath caught. "Jamie?" His smile widened. "You remembered." She stepped back, stunned. "You've grown up." "It's been 20 years, he said, voice suddenly thick. "But I never forgot you." Linda stared, tears forming. "You disappeared after 5th grade." Jamie nodded. "We moved across the state. My mom was in a rough spot. No phone, no car. I didn't get to say goodbye." They stood silently for a moment, two people bridged by time and memory. Then he held out a small box. "This is for you." She hesitated. "Jamie, you don't have to." "I do," he said gently. "You fed me when no one knew I was hungry. You gave me hope when I didn't know how to ask for help." She opened the box slowly, and inside was a house key, along with a folder containing a deed. Her name was on it. Her eyes widened. "Jamie, what is this?" "It's yours. Paid in full. A new home just outside town. 1 floor, no stairs. Garden out back. Room for baking and reading. Everything you ever gave me. I wanted to give back." Linda pressed a hand to her heart. "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll accept it," he whispered. "Because without your kindness, I wouldn't be here. I own one of the fastest-growing design firms in the state, but my first foundation was a sandwich and a note that said, 'Keep going.'" She blinked back tears. "You kept going. Because you believed in me first." And with that, the boy she once fed stood before her as a man, offering her not just a house, but the deepest kind of gratitude this world can offer. A week later, Linda stepped into her new home for the first time. The walls were painted a soft yellow. Sunlight poured through the large kitchen windows, and on the dining table sat a single sunflower in a mason jar. Next to it, One of Jamie's childhood napkin drawings, framed. She covered her mouth, overcome. "You remembered everything," she whispered. Jamie stepped in behind her, carrying a bag of groceries and flashing a proud grin. "You deserved everything." They toured the house, Jamie explaining how he'd worked with architects to make it senior-friendly, but still filled it with personality. There was a cozy reading nook by the window, a baking corner with custom shelves, even a tiny herb garden already blooming outside. "You knew I liked rosemary," Linda said, running her fingers across the leaves. "You used to bring rosemary crackers to class," Jamie said with a laugh. "I remember everything." Over the next few days, Jamie stayed in town. They had tea in the mornings, walked the neighborhood in the evenings, and for the first time, Linda got to know the man Jamie had become. He told her about the struggles, the nights he slept in shelters with his mother, the part-time jobs, the rejection letters, and then the breakthrough moment when someone gave him a shot to design a small storefront logo. That one logo led to a second, then 100 more. "But none of it," he said one night, "would have mattered if I hadn't learned how to believe in myself first. And I only learned that because you did." Linda's eyes shimmered. "You were always meant for something big." He looked at her, serious. "I just needed one person to say that out loud." And now, the woman who once gave, without asking, was finally being seen in the light she always deserved. But Jamie wasn't finished yet. Because the greatest part of his gift wasn't the house. It was something far more powerful. And he planned to reveal it soon. A month passed, and Linda had settled into her new home, her days filled with warmth, comfort, and something she hadn't felt in years. Purpose. One morning, Jamie picked her up and drove her across town without saying much, only smiling every time she asked where they were going. They pulled up to a newly constructed building wrapped in ribbon. Above the entrance hung a sign, "The Carter Center for Kids," in honor of Ms. Linda Carter, the teacher who fed more than minds. Linda stood frozen, her hand covering her heart. "Jamie, what is this?" "A community center," he said. "Free meals, after-school tutoring, art supplies, mentorship programs, for kids like I was." He handed her a plaque with her name engraved at the bottom. "You didn't just feed me, Miss Carter. You saved me. I built this place because every town needs someone like you, and every kid deserves to feel seen." Tears rolled freely down Linda's cheeks. "I'm just a teacher," she whispered. "No," Jamie said softly. "You're the reason I never gave up, and now hundreds of kids will get the same chance I did. Because of you." She looked around, overwhelmed, as local volunteers, parents, and kids began to gather, clapping, holding signs with sunflowers drawn in marker. That afternoon, Linda stood before them and spoke, her voice trembling but strong. "I gave a sandwich to a hungry boy, thinking it was just a quiet gesture. I never imagined it would come back as this. But it proves one thing. Kindness never disappears. It just waits until someone grows strong enough to carry it forward." Years later, the Carter Center expanded to 5 cities. Jamie's firm continued to grow, but no matter where success took him, he always called Linda once a week, sometimes just to say goodnight. And every birthday, without fail, she mailed him a sunflower card with a single line, "Keep going. I still believe in you." Because what started as a sandwich became a legacy of love, learning, and lives forever changed.